Hi, friends. Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm your host, Josh Horton. We're already a couple weeks into 2026, and I'm excited to be back in person this spring in Seattle, April 30th through May 2nd for our third annual Creative Works West conference. 3 days designed to empower your creative work and career. Tickets are only $3.99 for individuals and $1.99 for students. Our starting lineup is live, and tickets are on sale now. You'll find the event link in the show notes. Today, I'm talking with Memphis-based designer, illustrator, and studio owner, Allie Mounce, co-founder of Pretty Useful Co., one of my favorite people using design to make everyday life weirder, brighter, and more human. We talk about what it's like to build a career in a small market during recession, to be thrown into the deep end at a new job, and how to navigate the world of billable hour hustle, beer cart culture, and burnout. Allie shares how the pandemic and a year and a half of therapy forced her to rewire what success looked like, and why she couldn't keep pretending that work was the only thing that mattered. From there, Allie walks through her yearly hobby rule, why she picks one obsession a year that can't be about money or weight loss, and how chickens, native plants, and a little egg and bread hut in the front yard helped her reconnect to her body, her neighbors, and her creativity. We also zoom out into the state of the industry, AI, the pressure to build a brand, and why she thinks the new version of wealth is doing work that actually aligns with who you are, not just what looks good on a slide deck. And we talk about creative community, how seeing other paths at events like Creative Works opened up her sense of what's possible in a place like Memphis. But before we dive in, a quick ask. State of the Union and the Creative Workers Union are completely self-funded. There's no sponsors, no ad reads, no big company footing the bill. It's just me and Sydney on the edits, squeezing this in between client work, family, and life. If these conversations matter to you, consider giving $5 a week, about the price of a coffee, or any amount that fits to help us keep the show going and grow our season schedule. You can support the show at creativeworks.co/podcast. And if money's tight, just share this episode. It helps more than you know. If you've ever felt burnout, trapped in your own design persona, or hungry for a life that's bigger than your portfolio, this one's for you. Let's get into it. How are you doing?
Doing good. It's Friday. It's almost Christmas. We're in the home stretch of the year. Let's go.
Yeah. So you're working from home. I knew you had an office at one point in time. You're working from home now, as I think most of us all.
We still have an office. I just don't go there most of the time. I'm going to try and go more next year.
Okay, so you do. So are y'all doing retail?
No, we just have like a little room in this brick building, which is like great. All I wanted was a room with a window and some room to put stuff in and a table where you could have meetings. And that's all that's in there. It's great. But I'm most comfy working from the corner of my couch. And so that's where I am at 2 a.m. most of the time.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So do you literally work from the couch? I mean, is that kind of one of your spaces?
I tried to make myself use the office for a long time, and then I was like, why am I torturing myself? I hate this. So now I just sit in the same spot on the couch in my living room most of the time.
For those of you that don't know, Allie works and lives in Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I'm located. That's where Creative Works and Creative Workers Union got its start. Allie is an incredible designer and illustrator. And I just wanted to kind of bring her into this. One of the things I wanted to go through, and I want to talk about a lot of different things, but I kind of wanted to talk about how you got started. We live in a small market. There weren't a lot of opportunities for you to plug in and get jobs immediately out of college. Where did you go to college?
I went to UTK, so University of Tennessee at Knoxville.
They've got a great program. When you graduated, where did you get started here?
Let's see, it was 2010. So we were like deep in the recession. There were no jobs. I started making blog designs. That's what I was doing. And
for yourself or for other people?
For random people I knew that wanted them. Like I was just like selling random one-off stuff. And I was unemployed for to be fair, I was not doing a good job looking either, but I was unemployed for like 6 months. So I moved back to Memphis, got married, had about 6 months to like try to figure my life out, was making blog designs for random people, which, man, I really miss blogs. Bring them back. Let's go. Let's make the internet small and weird again. But somebody that I made a blog design for knew somebody at the Orpheum and knew that they were looking for a designer. And so I showed up for what I thought was my interview, and it was my first day.
Oh
And
my gosh.
and I was replacing a man who was like, I don't know, probably our age now, if not older. I was 22, and I was in
Wow.
charge of all of the graphic design and also ad buying and also
Whoa.
email marketing. So they were just like, here you go. Good luck. And I said, okay.
The Orpheum Theater is it's like the largest, I guess, playhouse that we have here. I don't know if you call it a playhouse, but just like it's legit. It can handle, Broadway shows. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Nine Inch Nails there, Modest Mouse. I mean, it runs the gamut. So that's a pretty serious thing to just be thrown into.
Yeah. And that's just kind of how my whole career's been. It's just like I show up and I walk into everything on fire and I say, okay, let's see what we can do here. And, I just do my best and figure it out. But I'm sure that would not happen there now, probably. Actually, I think the designer I hired to replace me is still there. So, hey, Nathan, if you're out there, hope you're doing well.
Nice. Okay, so you're saying that, like, what was it like? Were you able to remain optimistic in that role, or were you overwhelmed?
I was just like, okay, I guess this is what's happening. And, just every day try to figure it out. And I actually really enjoyed learning about ad buying, which I feel like is like less relevant now, not something people have to do a lot about. Like I understood media buying and I understood how to do email marketing and all this other stuff that I did not sign up for, but ended up being relevant in me moving into like the advertising industry later, even though like a lot of all of that's changed now. But when I moved into my first agency job, I think the random well-roundedness of my experience was part of me being able to get that job. So
where was your first agency job here?
I was at a now defunct place, whose name I would rather not say. It was, yeah.
Like I knew that was coming. Okay. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So
yeah,
I know exactly.
It was a small agency, met a lot of amazing people there that I'm still friends with to this day because we trauma bonded.
And Claire, right? Did she work there for a second?
Yes, and Claire. I hired Claire when I was there. And Claire is now my business partner at Pretty Useful. And yeah, I'm still friends with 90% of the people that I worked there with. I remember going to the first conference while I was there. But yeah, no, like little design studios, agencies in 2013 were a different beast than they are now. But a lot of craft beer and concrete floors. I saw this meme yesterday that was just like a bunch of images of what studios looked like in like 2013, 2014. I was like, nailed it. Bikes on walls. Yeah.
Right. And then where'd you go from that place?
From there, I went to Paradigm, which is a much better work experience. Hey, Charles, if you're listening.
Charles, yes.
Yes, really enjoyed my time at Paradigm. It was a great place to kind of reset my nervous system post my first agency job. And then after I had left the previous place, Claire Freeman and I had stayed friends and had talked about wanting to do something together, but we didn't know what. And then I think we went to one of your workshops with, I think it was Joseph Alessio. Workshop. He came in town, and it was about branding and creating your own brand and also like lettering. And I forget what all else it was about, but I remember that we went somewhere after. I think we went to SOB, and we were just talking about like what we wanted to do. And we settled on creating a line of small goods and calling it Pretty Useful. Claire had been doing a line of really cool stationery stuff, and she was calling it Beautiful Useful Things. And I was like, I think that we can make that shorter and snappier. What if we call it Pretty Useful? And she was like, okay. So that's how we came up with it.
It's amazing. Would it be okay to before we go forward on that, would it be okay to, without naming names, go back to the trauma bond experience and just talk about unhealthy dynamics within, agencies? Yeah. Because I think it's really important, especially if you're in a smaller town or smaller market where there aren't a lot of options. I felt like that's what was happening in Memphis around that time. There weren't a lot of options for employment. So you kind of found yourself within a handful of agencies or creative groups, whatever they called themselves at the time. And there were just dynamics at play, right? Like, I mean, I'll let you speak to it, but there's just dynamics at play that ended up not being great for a lot of people. And what are some of the things that like, what are some things that you guys kind of noticed, or what were some thematically, what was going on in that agency?
I think that probably the ones that are most relevant to what other people experience is just like there's a big hustle crunch culture happening at this time. Like everything was billed hourly, so you had to make like as many hours out of 8 billable to clients as you could, and that just like sets you up for failure right out the gate. So like,
sure,
I don't know if you've ever had to be in charge of like any kind of admin internal work in addition to client work, in addition to, I don't know, going to the bathroom or eating lunch occasionally. It's just not a great dynamic to walk into. And that's how all of them were doing it, as far as I know at that point. And I think that like
it leveraged as a strategy, right? Like it was leveraged as a strategy, not like to do the best work or get the job done. It was like were you being encouraged to basically build the maximum amount of hours you could?
Kind of the opposite. Like we were hyper efficient, and part of that was from my friend who worked with me there, Audrey, who is the most efficient person I know in the world. But yeah, we just ran a really tight ship, and everything was about the bottom line to some degree. Like we had a lot of fun and we did a lot of good work too. But like there was very much this attitude of you need to work as hard as you can, and then we'll go drink after and blow off steam. And like, that is just kind of like what the industry was like at that point.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of bled through everywhere. And like, you'll hear about, you know, agencies with like their beer carts and like coming around at like 4 p.m. and like all this stuff that they're like, oh, it makes us cool and fun. And it's like, what if we just structured our workplace in such a way that we didn't feel the need to like numb ourselves to get back to like a chill baseline? Like maybe that would be better. And I do think that I think the pandemic killed that to some degree, because I think everybody had a chance to like go home, like work from home, get some distance, realize that like all the things that we really cared about like maybe didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like like no offense to people that care about awards, but like who gives a shit? Like who cares if you won an award for something? Like there's still a lot of things I do care about now that I did care about then. I care about craft, I care about the quality of work, I care about making a difference for clients, but like there's all the other stuff. Like I just like in 2020 I was like, I don't care about this anymore. None of this is moving the needle.
Well, I want to get there, so maybe let's put a pin in that. But what you were describing though at your previous employment or your first agency job, which is funny, is like having a beer cart and all that stuff. That could have been on Wall Street, right? Like an incredibly stressful job, right?
That's what they were emulating. Is like everybody knew like Mad Men. Everybody wanted to be like, oh, we're pitching, like, you know, we're landing these big clients, we're doing like big dazzling design work, and like it was all very ego driven, and it wasn't really setting creatives up for success for sure. I mean, like I've always been like a work hard, play hard kind of person. Like I do like to put all my energy into stuff and then like have a lot of fun after. But nothing about the way it was structured was going to result in the best quality work and also people having like a good work-life balance and like being healthy either.
Sure.
And like, I think you've seen a lot of people run into that later in life and been like completely burnt out emotionally, and also been like, I've like kind of wrecked my body doing it this way, you know, like all these late nights and drinking and like all this other stuff is just like not sustainable or tenable in the long term. So I think that the pandemic became kind of like an easy eject button for a lot of people. Everyone was just like, let me take, like, we're all being forced to take a few steps back. And like, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was actually. And I don't actually want any of that stuff. And I actually don't like any of the things it's doing to me.
I feel the same way, right? I mean, like you just have to rethinking, but like you just have to, the pandemic blew it all up for all of us, right? We had this life, we had these expectations, we had these idols in our lives. I talked about this yesterday. You know, I wanted this really amazing black Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro that was like 70 grand, right? Like there was just I know it's so dumb.
Not so much.
I know. Well, yes, that,
Yeah.
but it's just so dumb. And so like, it forces this reset. But one of the things that I just saw happening to you just via following you, we didn't get a chance to connect much at that time, just because of I guess the pandemic. And then, things were slowing down for me incredibly. Like I just felt like I was building this house and then I was stuck in this office all the time, just trying to make money. And, but I saw, by watching you online, I saw there was these changes happening in you from like, kind of like, we're making cool shit all the time to like, oh, wait a minute, I'm taking pictures of a garden. Well, wait a minute, I'm taking pictures of the grass in front of my house.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like so tell us more
over there.
I know. Well, and also just being frankly, a little jealous as to like, okay, well, wait a minute, like maybe she's unlocking this new thing that I need to get into. I went and bought one of those things that you bought, one of those raised beds.
You got the raised beds. You're asking me about which ones I got. And I told you the ones that are so hard to put together, and I'm really sorry.
I want to go through that and just kind of speak about like, what were the shifts that were happening in your mind? You're articulating that, you kind of started articulating some of that too, but like, what were the shifts that were happening in your mind and kind of where did that take you? I guess we can just kind of keep following it through today. And maybe if we can get back to some pretty useful like stuff too, we could go there too.
Well, it's definitely all connected together. So like, Claire and I took pretty useful full time in 2020, right as the pandemic started, literally put in our notice, I think 2 weeks before the Tom Hanks NBA's canceled day. So like we launched pretty useful into the pandemic, just at it. Right. And that really took a lot of wind out of our sails. But in a lot of ways, it was such a huge blessing because like, it didn't matter that we didn't have an office or that, we didn't have any of the trappings of a traditional agency. Like nobody did. Everybody was just like at home on Zoom, and so were we. So it just like didn't weird anybody out. But like, like all of our like initial projects that were like got put on hold, and like it was crazy for sure. Like, so I had worked for so long and it was my goal to be self-employed, right? I was like, I'll be self-employed and then like that'll be it. That's what I'll be doing. And I won't have a boss anymore. I'll be my own boss. And like, that's what I want to achieve. I want to do that. And then I got there and I was like, cool, now I'm just doing this. And it didn't feel like an achievement anymore because like, you get this idea in your head that like you'll land a certain client or you'll like, I don't know, get into this certain type of work, or I don't know, you'll achieve these things and then suddenly like you'll have made it and it'll be different. It's not different. You just keep doing it. And like, you just keep doing it. Like, that's it. You don't reach anything in particular. You just kind of keep going. And I do think it's part of my personality to like want to achieve things. And then when I achieve them conveniently, they like no longer matter. And like, I do think that's something I need to work on personally. Like, I do think that's a me problem.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's one of the big realizations I had is like, oh no, I have a hard time like congratulating myself. Like when I do achieve something, I'm just like, oh, well, if I did it, then it must be easy. Duh. So that's something I'm working on. But so, I'm self-employed. I get super depressed because of this whole experience that I'm happening. And like, obviously it's the pandemic. Everyone's depressed too. So like, we're all kind of going through like group psychosis. But, so I was really going through it. And then I went to therapy and I did therapy for a year and a half. So that was like, I think it was like 20. I think it was like 2022 through 2023. And so like dealt with like a lot of my childhood issues, like things like my dad's death when I was 12, like all of like my really deep, heavy stuff, did EMDR therapy, got diagnosed with some stuff that was, illuminating that I didn't expect. And I came out the other side of that not caring about the same things anymore. And like, I think it was just kind of a natural evolution of like where I was at and where the world was at. But it was hard being self-employed and responsible for other people's livelihoods and going through that at the same time. Cause like, just because all of my thoughts and feelings have have gradually evolved to be completely different doesn't mean that the situation's different.
Sure.
And so, I just kind of like my priority shifted and like, I wouldn't say that there was no, like there's been negative fallout from it for sure. Like I was working all the time and then I wasn't. And so with that comes like less clients, less money, all that kind of stuff. But like I found that I had to really be true to like what I needed actually, like in my heart, and not what the world expected me to achieve or want anymore.
Man, you've
And
got me going.
don't cry. I just saw
Sorry.
Hamnet last night and I sobbed in the theater, so I'm feeling like nice and fresh right now.
I wouldn't talk about that because I want to see that movie too.
Oh man, you gotta see it. So good. It's gonna.
Joshua Blankenship mentioned that today.
Yeah, he talked to me about it too. I think he also cried in the theater probably. I hate crying in public. I really hate it.
Nice story with that.
Yes. I don't know. I wouldn't say you love it. It just happens to you a lot. So
yeah.
Your heart's, it's just like right here all the time. It's about to peek out of your eyes all the time. But yeah, so I think it's kind of like fortunate and unfortunate. Like I think I have this thing where I kind of can't, like if my heart's not in it, I can't do it anymore. And on the one hand,
does that ever get thrown back at you as a luxury, right? Like
for sure.
I'm the same way because I feel like I'm way too principled. And I'll have friends that know me.
It's not even a principle thing. It's like, I don't feel like I have a lot of control over like what I'm into or excited about at any given time. I would like literally graphic design was my passion for like a long time. And like, I still like graphic design and appreciate it as an art form and all that stuff. But like, I'm not like hungry for it the way I used to be. Right. And like, on the negative end of that, like it's much, more stable to pursue the same thing forever and get better and better at it and build on that forever. But unfortunately, I have to like play a game with myself where I have to keep making it fresh and new and also incorporate whatever the hell my current hyper focus is in order to like get myself to do work. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't say it's a luxury. It's more of a, and the positive end of it is that if you see me doing something, it's because I truly care about it. And like, I do like that it keeps me honest in that way because I just can't pretend otherwise. The negative side of that is like everything else. So like, it would be nice if I could not be like that sometimes, but unfortunately, it's just how I'm built. So I just have to kind of work around it. But,
I think a lot of creatives, I'm sorry, are like that. I mean, it's just, and I think, I have this conversation with Star, just because Star's my wife, if anyone,
I was like, I know who Star is.
Yeah, yeah. So Star and I have this conversation and I wonder, at times, and we talk about it, but like, it seems it's really fun that I get to have this cool creative job and she has a corporate gig. Right.
Yeah.
And so when, she's doing things all the time that she could really care less about. And at 5 o'clock, she's out, like, it's like hang out with us, pick up Andy from school, whatever it is. Like,
see, I think that's nice. Out. I wish I could do that. I think that'd be
totally. And that's what I tell her all the time is like, I wish that I could turn that part of my brain off. And I felt for the longest time, I would feel guilty about that. Right. I'd be like, well, why can't I do that? And then I started attributing it to being a principled person. And again, not to say that I think a lot of these things, they have like you just said, like there's a good and a bad, right? Like it's great that you can be passionate about things and give your heart and soul into a project and like just really kind of like bring, your perspective and your joy and everything to it. But then on the flip side of that, you're forgetting about what X, Y, and Z. There's a negative side to that too. Anyway, I just want to acknowledge for folks that like, I bet this is something that a lot of creative people struggle with in particular, especially these days when I feel like, and this is kind of weird to say out loud, but Austin Dunbar and I were talking about this yesterday. I feel like there's so many creative professionals out there right now. And I feel like, Allie, you were probably like created to be this way, right? And do this job. And I would say the same thing for me, but there's so many more people in these roles these days that I see that just don't like they're just pursuing it because it's a fun thing to do, and that it's like, it's fun, it's different, it's not an accounting job, it's not a corporate gig. And I guess what I'm hearing from you and kind of recognizing myself is like, this job is incredibly hard. You need a lot of stamina to do it. So to stay in that groove, and to stay going, to keep going, you've got to find
really care or get on cocaine. Those are your two options.
Oh yeah. Yes. Never done the second. So maybe I
Stimulants.
should start. I don't know.
Stimulants are giving a shit. That's what you got.
I know, man. And I think what I see with it's hard to communicate to younger folks that don't give a shit, how hard this role is.
Yeah.
I spoke to some students recently in North Dakota. You've been to North Dakota.
North Dakota rules. Hey, North Dakota people, I really enjoyed speaking to you. It was super fun.
And I spoke to a teacher there, a professor. It does. Did you stay in the
crazy brewery place?
Yes.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
So I'm going to try to do a Creative Works event there at some point. I thought it would be so good for that venue. Yeah. Can you imagine just everyone showing up in Fargo, North Dakota? Yeah. Like, it's kind of amazing.
It is.
So anyway, I was speaking to some students there, and, there's like a handful of folks that I felt like really understood it and got it and connect with it. But then there's a lot of people that are just kind of like, kind of going through the motions and thinking that they're just going to get on the other side of that and like just have this really amazing career. And I'm sure it's a state school, so I'm sure there's not a lot of debt involved, but I'm just trying to distill down now.
Expensive than it used to be.
Oh, for sure. I'm trying to distill down, I think, in my own mind, like what it takes to be successful in this career. And, the type of person that historically would get into it than what we're seeing right now, which is just, I think there's just so many people looking for these jobs. And there's less and less opportunity. But anyway, let's get back. Sorry, I'm getting on a tangent. Let's get back to kind of what was going on with you. You kind of were finding some things out about yourself. And in the midst of this, you started getting into like growing wild grass and getting rid of the landscaped grass in your front yard. And that's all I'm staring at right now. And you make me feel guilty because I'm sure it's killing a lot of bees.
Just dig up your whole yard.
Right. Quick pause. One of my favorite threads in this conversation with Allie is simple. Your identity has to be bigger than the person who makes cool stuff. Chickens, gardens, bread, native plants, neighbors, that's all part of building a life where your nervous system and your relationships are healthier than your feed. That's exactly what we're trying to build with the Creative Workers Union. Real community, honest conversations like this one, and practical ways to rethink what a creative life can look like in a world that's changing fast. If this episode's hitting home, there are 2 simple ways you can help. First, send it to one person who you think needs to hear it. A burned out art director, a studio owner questioning their path, or a creative person who needs permission to be more than their job title. That kind of personal share goes further than any algorithm. Second, if you're able to support the show financially so we can keep it independent and ad-free, you can give at creativeworks.co/podcast. Weekly, monthly, or one at a time gifts, whatever fits. Second, if you're able, support the show financially so that we can keep it independent and ad-free. You can give at creativeworks.co/podcast. Monthly, weekly, or a one-time gift, whatever fits. You can also stay in the loop by signing up for our newsletter and checking out upcoming Creative Workers Union workshops and events, all linked in the show notes. All right, back to Allie. Well, you got into gardening and what is that? There's a bigger term for that, not agriculture.
I guess the things I'm into are growing my own food, which I guess is like technically homesteading, but I do like a real rinky-dink version of that. And then native plants. Got very into native plants. This is a 2-pronged thing. So post-therapy, I was like, I have to get chickens.
Yes.
The line between those 2 things may not make sense to most people, but it made sense to me. I was like, I need to get out of my house more often. I need to be outside. I need something I care about. And for whatever reason, I really care about chickens right now. So I'm going to let myself pursue this hyper-focus to the most extent of my ability. And so I got chickens. I inherited some from my parents who had chickens most of my life. So that was kind of like where this came from. Yeah, so I inherited their ancient chicken, Mary, who was 13, who passed that summer, but like again, she was 13. That's fine. That's a great run for a chicken.
Was it the big black one?
No, that's Ripley. So, and then
Okay.
Marigold is the other one I got from my parents, and she's the best chicken in the world. She's so smart and so funny. Like, I know the bar is low for chickens, intelligent wise, but like she's generally pretty smart. She has a lot of personality. And then I got two other chickens that used to belong to my parents. So I got to another farmer, and then I got two baby chickens the following summer. And so I have a flock of 5 chickens now because Mary died and they're somewhere. But yeah, and like, so 2020, I guess that was 2022. It's 2025 now. I've had the chickens for 3 years, somewhere around there. But so this was.
And you don't live on a farm, just
no. I live in a neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood surrounded by neighbors who don't have chickens. But you'd be surprised, actually. There's along the Green Line lots of chickens in my neighborhood. So like we're out here as neighborhood chicken people, and you can hear.
I think it's great. I'd love to do it.
But so that was like the first thing, like post this kind of like shift in my priorities that I like really actively pursued. And it paid off a lot, and just like it accomplished getting me outside. It accomplished me getting out of my head into my body, being excited about something, getting it into a routine. Like instead of scrolling on my phone in the morning, I go out, let the chickens out, do the chicken chores every morning, which is like a really good reset. I get the sun on my face every morning and most of the evenings. Like at the end of the day, not in the winter, unfortunately, because it's way too cold and it gets dark at fucking 3 p.m. But, in the summer, I'm out with a glass of wine and the chicken's winding down for my day. And so that was like my first experience trying to pursue something outside of like work stuff and reorienting myself around something that wasn't work related. And then that started me doing kind of, I don't know what to call what it is I do. Basically, instead of a New Year's resolution, I pick a hobby every year now. And like sometimes it's an amalgamation of multiple hobbies. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, like a goal instead of like a hobby. But like the rules are, it has to be something I'm really excited about. And it can't be, man, what are the rules? And it can't be for money. And it can't be weight loss related. That's an important one. They cannot be oriented towards me losing weight, because I hate resolution shit because of that reason.
Sure.
And like being active, totally fine. Trying to lose weight, not in this arena.
Sure.
And so the first year, or I guess this is the second year, I would call the first year the year of the chicken. The second year was vegetarian cooking. And so I cooked a whole bunch of vegetarian meals all year, and I got to try a bunch of new stuff. And it was really fun, and I got to learn so much. And like, I did it like on a weekly basis. Every week I was like, okay, poor Eric, my husband, who does eat meat. And like, I still eat meat too, like plenty. I eat plenty of meat, but I eat less now because, I spent and chickpeas rule. I love chickpeas, and I don't really like tofu, but like I love vegetables. So I don't miss it. And like now I find myself like, I have like people have to remind me, Eric has to remind me, is like, can I have a meat, please? Because I'm just like,
right.
This week we're having X, Y, and Z, and he's like, there is no protein to be found in there. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, sorry. But so that was the year of the veggie, and then the next year, this past year, I did sourdough bread, and I was gonna do what I called the 3 B's, which was bread, birding, and bruise. And the bruise was basically getting into like herbalism stuff. Like, I've planted the garden and all that. The garden's happening in the background every year. I'm adding more beds and stuff. It was kind of like a natural progression of like, I got chickens, and now it's like, I have all these beds with like dead stuff in them. I could probably put some veggies out here to tend while I have chickens. And then like that built year over year as well. And like this year I planted an herb garden. And so I ended up not doing much birding this year, but I made a shit ton of bread. I made sourdough bread every week, and put it, I got something else that happened. I guess this was last year probably. I got this carpenter person I know, Nick. Hi Nick, you're the best. he built me a little house that sits in front of my house that I put eggs in. So the chickens, extra eggs go in the house and my neighbors buy them. And then I donate money, whatever I want to donate it to, which is great. And then I started putting bread in the house, and then that really popped off. And I had my neighbors just like lining up in the morning on Saturday to like get my bread, which was,
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. And I got to meet so many neighbors. But yeah, so I did that for a year. And I think this next year I want to write a book. I think that's what I want to do for my hobby quest 2026.
Do you know any kind of thematically, or do you know kind of where that's
going? I think figuring it out is going to be part of it, probably.
Sure.
But
I was going to ask, do you feel like you've got chickens, you've got the garden going on, you've got bread making.
I'm very trad wifey, unfortunately. It's what I like, though.
But have you found kind of like in your personal life or your professional life, when you kind of like, you figure something out and then you lose all interest, or you get somewhere and then you lose all interest? Have you found the same things to be true with this? I mean, obviously the chickens, you got to still maintain.
The chickens are in it till they die. So I can't lose interest.
What's your practice, or did you develop any kind of things, maybe through therapy or something, but like what's been your practice to kind of keep yourself either motivated or engaged in those things, to keep those things going?
I think that adding something every year is kind of doing a lot for that. Like they're all kind of in the same wheelhouse, but like, so for the chickens, year 2, I added like the chicken hut that I put the eggs in for my neighbors. And then for vegetarian cooking, like I still just like make all those recipes. So that was more so like getting me moved in a direction that I wanted, but I didn't like abandon vegetarian cooking after a year. That was more just like opening a door. And then for, actually I would say for vegetarian cooking, what has been continuing to motivate me is growing my own food and then incorporating that into the vegetarian cooking, which has been really fun. And then, yeah, just planting new stuff, harvesting new foods, being really bad at gardening and getting over it and trying again. And then the bread goes in with the eggs, and it's kind of like, and I think too, part of the way I'm doing it is like, I'm only having to devote a year. And so after the year's over, if I want to never do it again, that's fine. But I usually find that like, I've gotten stuff out of it and I'm enjoying doing it. So it's not like, I don't have to do it forever. Like if I never want to make sourdough bread again, no big deal. I just won't do that next year. Like maybe I'll put like, I don't know, plant seeds in the chicken hut next year, or like, I think that's having a time limit on it is an important part of it, and not feeling like I've failed just because I don't do it every day for the rest of my life. Right. Like I got so much out of learning how to make sourdough, like being able to learn and fuck up repeatedly and then do it and be like, wow, I did it, was like such a fun experience for me, and so unrelated to anything creative I was doing. So it like really freed me up in a way that like I don't feel like I could get out of like trying a new like drawing practice or something, a new medium. Like it's just like so far away from that it like really gave me the freedom to feel like I could mess up and keep messing up and maybe never succeed at it. It's no big deal. It's fun. The point is to learn and have fun.
Yeah. I mean, so you built a framework around it, which is like, stop at a year, make sure that it's something that's going to be fun. It's not super serious. And I think that's really amazing. How did you feel like in the process? Because I think it did it, but like in the process, you were no longer really like, at least online, like focused on being the chick that makes cool shit, like the cool design chick. So many of us, what we do is so much of a part of our identity, right? Like I'm so like, I kind of, that's me. Like everything that I do is a part of my identity. Right.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of what I hear you saying about what you did was like, you created things that, kind of shifted your identity.
I think it's funny because I think it's going to make its way back around eventually. Cause like now I want to make zines about making sourdough. I want to make zines about having chickens. I want to make zines about native plants. And like,
yeah.
And so like by getting out of my normal realm of stuff that was my identity, it gave me the freedom to like get excited about stuff again and not feel like if I failed at it, that it like reflected on me in a way, you know, like
Right.
it made me feel free to fuck up as much as I wanted. And that enabled me to kind of like get my creative spark back. And I don't think that was never my intention with it, but I do think that giving yourself that freedom to play and be excited and pursue things you're excited about, like, begets more excitement and begets like more imagination and creativity. And so like that's just a way to like get your engine running. But it's not like that was never the point, you know. It's just like that's where I
Right.
ended up, because at the end of the day, like that is who I am and that is what I do. So like it kind of, I can try and get away from it and be play at being a trad wife or whatever, but at the end of the day, I really like making stuff and it's really fun. So it
Yeah, I
will
remember.
eventually come back.
No, totally. And again, you would probably not be doing this to make money, but the fact that you did it, the fact that you're good at illustrations, you could probably sell your zines online to people who'd be interested in these things. Not even like you probably just have designers that would buy that because it looks good, but you probably also sell it to people that are
Yeah.
interested in horticulture
And I
like
think
growing
that's what
things.
I want. I want to talk to more people. I feel very drawn this year to connecting with communities that are not the design community. Like I love the design
Yeah.
community. I know we all know each other's struggle. It's nice to talk to someone who gets it. But like I'm just so interested in other niche weird communities and I want to talk to them and I want to like find out what are they interested in? Like what are they worried about? So at the beginning of this year, I read the book The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And it's about like reciprocity and the gift economy and doing things purely to give things to other people, not to make a profit, and reorienting the way that you see the world through that. And like basically how that is the basis of nature itself.
Mm.
And like, you know, like why do the trees make berries? Like why does anything work with anything? And it really like rewired my brain in a way I wasn't expecting at all. And it really changed the trajectory of all the stuff I did this year, like ripping up my whole front lawn and planting native plants, stuff like that. So, and also putting the chicken hut in front of my house and using the money that comes from it to like donate to food banks and stuff.
Totally.
It just like changed, because, you know, graphic design is such a commercial enterprise, right? And we're all entrepreneurs, we're all hustling. And it was so refreshing to read just like an idea about like, it doesn't have to be that way, you know, like maybe that's not what we're meant to be doing. Maybe we're meant to just be giving each other gifts freely. And like, maybe that world could exist. So yeah, just figuring out how to play at that, I guess.
That's incredible. I just went to lunch with Luis Toro, and we were talking about some of these things, just how commerce and corporations kind of like have changed the world so drastically, so quickly. And then we're all caught up in mortgages and car payments and all of these things that, you know, sending kids to school and all of these things that kind of weigh us down. They're like ball and chains, right? Like they're things that like at this point, it's not that I wouldn't give this house up. It's that I got this really amazing interest rate that I'll never get again. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe I'm making excuses, but like there's a different scale.
That's real.
Yeah, for sure. I know. But I mean, there's just a different scale that we could all live in and a different sense of like convenience that we could all let loose. Like this is something we talked about. Imagine if we all just said, okay, so next year, none of us are going to shop on Amazon.
Already doing it. Come with me.
Right. It's totally possible.
Yeah, it's so possible.
You know, it's totally possible. But this idea that we can order something and get it in 2 days is just so convenient to so many people.
And you don't even have to like not do it ever. Just do it less. Just do less.
We've already started doing that. And then Christmas comes and you're like, oh man, I'm a piece of shit because that's all I'm doing right now. Trying to catch up on 4 kids' Christmases. But yeah, I mean, there's so many small things that we can start doing to help a different future to be realized. I mean, that's really what it's getting at. It's like, there are things that the pandemic um, corporate greed, media, social media, all of these things, just reframing what those actually are at the end of the day, and like being honest about what they actually are. Like,
Yeah.
what does Amazon do for us? What does social media do for us? And what has it done to us?
Social media, like being connected to people. I think I've found a way to do it on my own terms that works for me, which is basically I just use Instagram stories and they go away. And like, that's it. And that's all I do. And I just make my own little TV show about my life and then it disappears. And like, I do think that social media can still be good. You just got to find the version of it that doesn't make you feel like you want to die. And then just
do you remember maybe, oh my gosh, maybe this is a bad thing now, I don't know, but back before social media, back before MySpace, there was a thing called eBaum's World.
Oh yeah.
And it would just have like really dumb videos on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
G.I.
Joe.
So good.
Yes, exactly. So thank you. I'm glad that you get that reference. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. But that's what I use. So a couple people recently were like, hey man, I haven't reached out to you in a long time because I just thought you were like really, really mad because I would post these like basically like glaring like hypocrisies within like politics or within religion, and just hoping that people saw that like, hey, there's someone out there that believes differently, that's not a piece of shit, whatever. Yeah. And anyway, it just made people think I was mad. But anyway, the boundaries that I've been creating with social media, which has actually been really amazing, but it just reminds me of what I used to do with eBaum's World, which is I just send dumb shit to people, like my family included. Like it's just
made me think of you, which is the best version of sharing things. It's just like, hey,
yeah.
This little piece of you on the internet made me think of you. Here you go. This is for you now.
Totally. Like, and I think that's what I would love. That's something about social media that I can appreciate. It's just all of the other things that come along with it. And then just like having kids, like Jude wants social media, Jude wants to be on Instagram so bad. And like all of his other 15, 14-year-old, 16, I know, right? He's probably got it somewhere. I don't know, but
he's got Insta somewhere you don't know about.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's the thing is like it's really disappointing to me. I think that's the thing that I'm not angry, but it's just really disappointing to me that people have all of these conveniences and information and all of these things, and we are not really thinking critically about them. And kind of bringing this back to the conversation we're having is just this new perspective about all of these things that you kind of built up in your life in your 20s, or I mean, even like decades of your life. I think this is going to change every decade of your life. You're going to kind of come to these realizations like that. I burn out. I did all this dumb shit the previous decade, and then now I'm not going to do this going forward. That's a very healthy way to grow. Like this guy I was arguing with online the other day was like, "You sure have changed from high school." Exactly. That's exactly what I told him. I was like, "I'm so glad that I've changed since high school."
Yeah,
I know. And anyway, I'm not trying to. All that to say is like what I'm hearing from you is something that I think every designer that I know right now, and that I feel like is older like us in a healthier place, is just their entire identity is not wrapped up on like what t-shirt they put on their store or what latest thing that they were able to post on LinkedIn to prove some case study or whatever, or fix a logo or whatever this ends up being, but you're still a graphic designer every day, right? You wake up every day and you're designing things for people and for brands and for things that you care about. And I think that's a better mode of operation so that we don't burn out and we don't use all this fuel that it takes to do this job, because putting yourself out there, regardless of whether it's design or art, putting yourself out there in your brain on a page or on a screen is incredibly exhausting. Yeah. And when you get told no, or you don't get the amount of engagement that you wanted online, that's totally different now than it was 6 months ago, right? Like, you just those things don't happen the same way. So I've just been incredibly encouraged by kind of what, voyeuristically through your story, of like going from being like a badass boss lady to like, you know, shifting over to where like you've got all these hobbies and you're posting bread pics. And what is it about bread pics, by the way? There is something, oh my God, there is something about someone posting a picture of a fresh loaf of bread that like, I think everyone's better. Just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Bread is so cool because bread is like, so your starter is just like this little animal that you keep alive and then it makes bread for you. And that's sick. I love it. I love it so much. Like you name your little starter and it lives, mine is named Ida B. Bread Wells. And she lives in my fridge and I get her out once a week and feed her, make her puffy. And then she makes bread for me. And like, that's just magical. Bread is magic. I love bread.
That's amazing.
Bread is great.
Yeah. Like, I grew up, my mom did that. She made bread and she had a starter that she always kept. And yeah,
it's cool as hell. Like just like the alchemy of like, it's, you know, flour, water, salt. That's all that's in there. And yeast that happens from the air. And then you get the most delicious food in the world. Like that's cool as hell. That is so cool. Yeah. I love bread. Bread is amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, some good stuff. So let's if you can, I'd love to back up a little bit and talk about, the, you know, the origins of Pretty Useful. Again, you guys were working other jobs, that kind of came to a realization about some things that you wanted to build and stuff like that. And I think at the time we had a beer and you're like, hey, can we be in the market? I was like, of course. And I'd love to talk about kind of like your experience within creative community. And we don't even have to label it like our creative community, but also you are part of many other creative communities. You've spoken at other creative communities, but kind of what are the things that you can say that creative community helped you with, going from, you know, that person working at that first agency to the person that decided to open their own kind of little side hustle, if you will, for lack of a better term, and to someone that wanted to build their own business, and to someone who's now, you know, got a business and it's really amazing. And you're like full on, you're just doing full on like projects and case studies and things that can be studied that honestly help people and help businesses and give value back in ways that, you know, when you were working at the first, the nameless location that you were probably just, you know, pushing pixels around. How does creative community like impact that role?
To be fair, still very much just pushing pixels around at the end of the day. But I would say the main thing that connecting with creative community did for me was like, you can't be what you can't see. And I didn't know that stuff was an option. Like, you know, I'm from a small market. I just saw what was available. Like, what am I going to do? Work at an agency until I work up the ladder and I guess become like a creative director. I guess that's what I'll do.
Right.
And like, none of that particularly appealed to me, but I was kind of like, I just want to make cool stuff. And that seems to be like what the people I know who make cool stuff, what they do. So I guess I'm going to do that. And it wasn't until I was exposed to people from other walks of life who had started their own studios, who like worked in house at these big places and they got to do really cool stuff, that I knew that like there were other avenues available to me. And so that was a huge part of it. That was like, I would say what the number one thing that initial Creative Works experience gave to me was seeing that like there were other avenues that were available. And then meeting those people.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, I try to articulate these things, but just possibility as a creative work and career. It's like one of the most important things that you can see as a person, because you just don't know what you don't know, especially if you're in a smaller market. Yeah,
especially if you're like a 24-year-old child who's like never lived outside Memphis. Like, you know, what do I know?
Yes. I didn't even know that graphic design was a thing until I worked at a record label and I realized that that there was a machine that had Photoshop on it. And that's I didn't know. I know. So possibilities of creative work and career. Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure that point was articulated.
And then like seeing those people doing those jobs and then meeting those people and they're real people and they're cool and nice. And like, they'll talk to you about their experience and realizing that like the only thing standing between like where you are and where they are is an opportunity. And those opportunities come and you grab them and you hope for the best. And like, that's just what happens to everyone. You just like put yourself out there, somebody notices you, and you do the opportunity. And if it goes well, you get more opportunities. And then that's how you build a business. And like, that's the whole thing. There's not a lot of secret sauce to it. It's just do good work, put yourself out there a lot, and hope for the best. And like, anyone who tells you anything else is probably trying to sell you a course, and don't
totally, totally. Yeah. And also how amazing is creative community for craft? I mean, one of the things that I talk about a lot is like when I first started designing at Ardent Records back in the day, like I was putting drop shadows on things and getting fonts from defont.com and just like, just using the most tacky things. And I was the
tacky
only, so
I love tacky stuff. I think everything needs to get tackier right now.
Okay.
Team tacky. Let's get weird. That's okay. Here's my new design philosophy.
Tacky.
No, I am team tacky. I am team whimsy. I'm like, let's get weird and freaky with it again, because like our color of the year this year is white. Like we are in the dark place. We are getting dragged back to bland. No one has anything to say because of fascism. And like those two things are not directly related, but they are related. And like I think the best.
Well, hold on. Just
wait. I gotta say one thing real quick. I think the best thing we can do is be as loud and weird as possible. We have to be our true selves, loudly, colorfully, and weirdly, and do it. I believe in you. Do it.
Yeah, there was a picture online the other day that was like the colors of cars in 1960.
Yes, I posted that picture. You probably saw it on my stories.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm probably getting the dates wrong, but like the colors of cars now to then, and like I spent all this time justifying it because I love black cars, and it was just like, oh, well, I get it. The gist is we've all been homogenized. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Like everything's just. It's become vanilla, and then the color of the year is white, and then they're justifying it because it is a color.
But like that is also such a symptom of like the rage baiting marketing that we're all living in now. It's all pity marketing.
Oh, that's really smart.
Yes, they literally wanted to cause begin a conversation, is what they said, which pisses me off so bad because like. Pantone should exist to inspire us and make us excited about design and color. And instead they're like, let's just piss everybody off and that'll do the same thing. Guess what, Pantone? It didn't do the same thing. It made everybody mad. And now I'm mad at you as I use your stupid color.
No, totally. Well, and I don't know how long, I mean, are people still using I mean, I have books and I used them
earlier this week, unfortunately.
But it's like, Adobe does not use them anymore.
No,
I think you have to pay to incorporate them or something.
Yeah, which again, the subscription baseness of our lives is getting so out of control.
Okay. Yeah, and Affinity apparently, I was in this. They invited me to this thing in New York to see their new thing, the new software suite that they're doing, and they're including Pantones in it, which I thought was
brother.
Nice.
It should be everyone's job to make our jobs easier, and somehow it's not. It's their job to steal our jobs and make everything worse.
Yeah. Okay. So back to what I was saying is like, so basically growth within community is exponential and growth alone is incremental. Mm-hmm. And what I was getting at is craft, right? So my taste as a guy who grew up in Bartlett, I graduated from Bartlett High School, like the pinnacle of like cool buildings and communities was like this like old building that I wanted to turn into a coffee shop and have like Christian, like acoustic music playing at or something. Yeah. Like that was like my dream. And then I moved. Yeah. I just moved outside of Memphis.
Yeah.
And like immediately kind of my world was open to like, okay, wow. Okay. So there's all this other stuff. And then when I became creative and started doing that role, and then I moved to basically a city where these guys had grown up with taste and all of these really amazing influences, then that influenced me. Within a very short period of time, I had all these like kind of like little corrections, and I grew over a summer into an incredibly different designer that could immediately get, I guess respect is not the right word, but basically the work that I was doing was becoming relevant because I had basically grown around a handful of people that were doing work that I, for whatever reason, liked and admired. And I think that's one of the biggest things that happens in communities. It's possibilities of creative work and career, but just seeing it and understanding how it's made and seeing more people doing other things that aren't necessarily, I know you're saying tacky, but like that aren't necessarily like trendy, and just kind of going back to these like kind of fundamental classic principles around, you know, graphic design and things like that. It's anyway, it just grew me exponentially. And I think that's one of the things about community. So to keep going on this, so you had a booth. I love these pictures. I have this like in one of my old like fundraising presentations.
Me and baby Claire with our little booth.
Yeah. You had a booth like that. One year was
what
really
year is this, 2016. Is that the year?
I think so. Something like 16 or 17. And then, you know, so you have a booth one year, and then the next year we had another picture that's of that same, of your booth. And anyway, like the way you guys grew within that 1 year. And then I think you guys were on stage with like Young Jerks and,
was that the third year? That's crazy. So I don't think it was the third year. Maybe fourth year after that. I don't know.
No, I think it was quick. It was really quick. But
yeah, because then 2020 would have been 4 years, and that one was online and we spoke. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's just I felt like you both plugged in. You drank the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to say. Like it was just like
yes.
Yes, you locked in, and it was just like you were off to the races and no one could catch up, you know, like, and I just think that was really, really amazing. And it was the same thing that happened to me too. It was just like, I just didn't know, like in Memphis in particular, there wasn't a creative conference, and AIGA was here.
They did.
And I went to like, they had a conference here at one point in time, a few years before our first conference, which was really fantastic. But like, it felt too networky. It felt like it was more about like getting a job than it was about being inspired and learning new things and things like that. So anyway, so you guys, you know, did it 1 year as a side hustle. Then you turned it into a legitimate agency, and now Kay's on board. Like, talk to us kind of like about the transition. Like, what got you from, I hate using this word, maybe there's a better word for it, but like, what got you from side hustle to kind of full time? What was that transition like? And like, what were the things that defined that? Because I remember one of the things I thought was really smart is like, I think Claire was ready to jump, and you had like a certain dollar amount you wanted to save up.
Actually, I was ready.
Oh, really?
To give,
okay.
Claire was like, I have to save X amount of money, and I said, that's fair. Let's do that. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So I very much am like a leap before I look kind of person. I'm just like, things will work out or they won't work out, and I'll find something else to do. We'll see what happens. That's just, and how I'm built, kind of fortunately, unfortunately. But Claire is a little bit more pragmatic about that, which is also really good. I think that is part of the reason we're good business partners. But we did some client work for Meta, and that gave us the nest egg that made both of us feel comfortable quitting our day-to-day.
How'd you get the job with Meta? Where was that connection made?
That came from, oh my God, completely blanking on Laura's last name. Laura
B?
Yeah, no? Laura B. Hold on. What is Laura's actual last name? Bleep this.
I don't know any. I just know where's Laura B. For those who don't know Laura, Meg Lewis, Laura B, and Jim Musari. Something like that. Yeah. Anyway,
Laura's cool as hell. She lives in the UK, and she was doing work for Meta and like couldn't take this project on. And then we took on the project, and we ended up doing a bunch of work for them, and like doing a bunch of like pitch decks and like random stuff. And you know, it was a lot of hard work, but it paid the bills, and like paid the bills so much that we felt like we could quit our jobs and just kind of see what would happen from there. And then the pandemic happened. Right. And then like, honestly, it's just all been luck and referrals and doing the work and being visible and getting more work. And like, sometimes we're doing really well, sometimes we're doing less well. And like, that's just, you know, it's kind of like anybody else. Like again, with the whole, like, I don't think there's like a point you reach, like it never becomes easy, you know, like it never gets to where it's like not hustling and late nights and doing the work, and work is work is work is work forever.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, mostly fun work a lot of the time. So
yeah, the fact that we get to do this type of thing for a living is really fantastic at the end of the day. And especially too, if that's kind of like, if your heart and your soul or whatever is wrapped up in it and you get it to express yourself in this way, I think that's just really phenomenal. The other thing that I was talking to Louise today about was just like the idea of making an honest living. I think that's one of the things that I keep saying to myself and keep telling people is, you know, if you're trying to build this huge agency, right? And you want to be the top agency in Memphis, or if you want to be the most, award winning agency in Memphis, or, whatever it is, like I know people that were kind of in that, mindset. I'm sure it's changed now, but like I've known those people, and like those things never happened to those people. And, it's like, what are you chasing then? Right? Like at the end of the day, I just want to do this for a living, right? I want to make an honest living, providing a service for people that creates value for their bottom lines. Again, it's all back to commerce, right? It creates value for their bottom line. It helps them tell their story easier, share their story easier, or help share their brand with people, or put things on people's shelves. And the fact that we get to do this is really phenomenal. But it's going back to just making an honest living the same way a trim carpenter would, or, input and output. Anyway, I just think about that a lot, because I feel like in the pursuit of scale, or in scale, whether it's money or likes or engagement, it's like everyone just wants to have the maximum of all things. I think it's not like we need to just exist, but you know what I mean? Like we got to reset on some level stuff.
I think that people are all coming to the realization that that's not real. And I think for better or worse, I think we're about to have like a real shake up and kind of reset of our industry one way or another, whether we like it or not. But I think that this is something people have been coming to on their own for the last like couple of years, because, and I think too, it's looking back at Creative Works and like what inspired people to go and like what people got out of it was kind of its own thing that was very special, because it like was about like feelings and like being real with people, and like, going to hang out in Tad's trailer park and like talking to these like cool designers about ghost stories, which was like one of my favorite things that ever happened.
Was that and Dana like, and
just talking to Dana talking about ghosts. But I think that kind of like genuineness and like not upselling or trying to like there wasn't networking. It was just like, I genuinely am interested in like what you have to say, and you're interested in what I have to say. And I think people want that, and I think people still want it. And I do think that because of where our industry is heading, because of AI, because of, probably a huge like winnowing of jobs that's going to come sooner than later. Like, I do think that
it's already come.
It's already come. We're already living in it. But like, I think that there is, and maybe this is me being weirdly optimistic, but I'm like kind of ready for everything to get ruined and changed completely. Like I'm think it's actually like well past time for us to kind of tear it all down and start over. And so I think that like creativity is not going anywhere. All that stuff is what people still want. People want to connect to other people in a genuine way. People want to do work that they care about. They want to do work with craft and like hone their skills, because that stuff is deeply satisfying, and that's not going anywhere. So I'm not very worried about the future. And maybe that's naive and kind of dumb of me.
But you just don't know when it's going to happen, right? Like that's the part.
Could go anywhere at any time, forever. Yeah. Like that's just life. So I feel very hopeful that we will reorient away from this kind of like junk food culture of like likes on social media and like caring about this. Like I think that the new like rich, like the new wealth will be doing work that you align with like on a personal level, and that like the story feels like something you want to be part of, and like they're making like good changes in the world, like stuff like that. I think is like it's what I value. And I feel like maybe more people will also start to feel that way, because at the end of the day, like the surface level, like awards and like notoriety and all that stuff doesn't satisfy for very long. And like, I think a lot of people are coming to that realization.
Totally. No, that's really amazing. And honestly, that's where my head's been the past couple of days. And you're aligning with a lot of what I'm thinking, and just being, again, it's like we don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell when that's going to happen, when the bubble's going to pop or whatever, but we know it's coming. We know it's coming. Like, we crave human connection.
We can't keep doing the circle jerk forever. Like, it's gonna break. It's gonna break. That's right. Soon.
Yeah,
and like, I hope the breaking doesn't destroy too many livelihoods. That's all I want out of it. But I think unfortunately it will, probably. So
yeah, I sadly say that, like, I think a lot of people are going to have to suffer before people wake up to the realities of what we've just empowered, right?
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I would love to like go take a long nap for about 6 years and then check in with where we are. Yeah. But unfortunately, we have to live it to get to the other side and be part of the solution. So
yeah, be a part of the solution, be a part of the change.
Good luck to everybody.
Yeah. And that's it.
No. And that's it. Good luck, everyone. Yeah. No, just, I do think that we all have the ability to make these small changes, and it's really surprising the kind of impact you can have doing something small. Like, you never know who's watching and like who could be inspired by like what you're doing, which is a good reason to do stuff.
All right, well, I am going to leave it there.
Cool, that's better than good luck, everybody.
No, no, I'm gonna let's catch up. Let's keep on catching up. In person, and then we'll come back and do another one of these and just kind of see how things have shifted. Again, we're going to continue to grow. Our perspectives will shift. I mean, I'm like you, I'm sure, like a lot of us, I'm just up and down all the time. I mean, I haven't been steady for a while. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I mean, if you look at what's going on around us,
we're doing so good, all things considered.
Yes.
We're remarkably hinged, all things considered.
Yes. And so anyway, I feel optimistic too. Even though there are days where, I can't build up the stamina or the endurance to kind of like stick it, but I feel like it's going to be a good thing. And anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for growing with us and sharing what you have. If you guys don't know, how do you get connected with Allie online? How do you connect? Is it Allie Mounce? Allie Mounce?
ALLIEMOUNCE. If you want to follow my chicken and like gardening stuff, and if you want to see design stuff I do, it's pretty useful. That's it.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Thank you again. And we'll connect soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks, Allie. Bye. Thanks for listening to State of the Union. If something we said stuck with you, please share the episode with someone who needs it. This is how we keep these conversations moving beyond the feed and into real life. If you want to help keep this work going and keep the podcast independent and self-funded, you can support the show at creativeworks.co/podcast. Even $5 a week or a one-time donation makes a real difference in how many episodes we can produce each season. And if you want to go deeper, get early access to episodes, discounts on events and workshops, and find more meaningful ways to connect with other creatives in real life, sign up for our email newsletter and consider becoming a Beta Creative Workers Union member. Links in the show notes. Got a story about a win, a setback, or a shift that you're navigating in your own creative career? Send it to stories@creativeworks.co. I'd love to hear it and maybe share it on a future episode. State of the Union is produced by Creative Workers Union, hosted by Josh Horton, and edited by Sydney Gladue. Until next time, keep showing up, focus on your craft, and remember, you're not alone.